This episode is all cosmetics. So if you want something other than that, you're out of luck. Tune in for episode, I think this is episode 7, so it'll be episode 8 after this. But on this episode, we're going to be working on a battery holder. Maybe that's not cosmetic. We're going to be working on a rear bumper. That's not cosmetic. You need a rear bumper to be legal. Most kids shave it. Rear bumper, front bumper valence. It will not function as a real bumper, but it will look like a real bumper, and that's what counts. What else are we going to work on? We're going to work on some mirrors. Hold on. What other parts do we got here? And then we got this. The solution for that ridiculous looking extension there. I'll have to fit those. These are just an eBay special, so nothing fancy or expensive. Are we going to learn a new skill? These should probably be riveted on. But look at that. That would look a lot better. Same thing back here. I mean, those I can mount a little bit higher so they're not sticking out. Or no, that looks good. And if I should get that wheel spacer that I was thinking, it'll pop it out a little bit and it'll look really nice. And then finally, yes, there's still a microwave back here. We've got generic fender mirrors. This is so cool. This brings me back. I have done this exact same thing. Now, typically, a mirror would go right there. And that's the right spot if you're concerned about functionality. But if you're concerned about looks, it should be right. Oh my goodness. That is hot. I love it. I love it. That's excellent. We're getting closer and things are coming together here. I love it. In fact, I had that exact same idea on a 84 Mazda B2000. Short box SE5. What does SE5 do for you? Nothing. Subject for another day. And these are just generic, simple mirrors. They used to sell these at, remember I picked mine up at North 40, which is now, or no, Big R, which is now North 40. So, stay tuned with me. We're doing a lot of cool cosmetic things that are going to enhance this vehicle a lot. So the battery falling into the motor has been an issue several times. See, that's been stretched out already several times. And yeah, this has got to be a factory setup, although this battery that we're putting in is a bit bigger than that one. What was the factory solution for this? Oh my goodness, we're rusted through right there. Uh-oh. Well, what was the solution for this? I am not sure. I mean, typically there'd be a thing that goes over here, but I think we got a better solution. It's right over there. Stay tuned for go-kart project. Maybe this is a case of hubris or whatever, but I think I have the ability to build myself a go-kart out of pretty much this here steel only, and some extra parts from Harbor Freight, the usual suspects. But, so I'm thinking, weld. Look at that, perfect 90. Cut right there, measure the lengths over there, weld her right onto that body. How well is that going to weld? Yeah, we'll find out. Now I'm thinking at this point I should just ditch that factory tray. Yeah. Oh, my stuff just falls. I mean, the battery didn't really fit. Alright, so if I do that, I got enough room to get her out. I can use the battery tray to hold that up. How convenient. So, that is right there. Right there. So I'm going to cut this there. Alright, there we go. Alright, let's get some welding footage on this thing. Oh, what is that? I know how to operate one of these cameras, I swear. What is that? Oh, that is so cool. Alright, that is so cool. It says keep out fire battery tray, whatever. But that is some JA pan goodness right there. Something like that. Excellent. So grind there, grind there. Come on. There we go. Tip's getting a bit dirty. Well, these tips are pretty cheap, but I'm cheap. And I have extra tips. I do like this titanium machine. This is not hot unless you're actually welding. It means you can do stuff like clean your tip and pull it off, touch it, etc. Well, it took a little getting used to because the cheaper machines that I'm used to, they're hot all the time. And it has a fan so it can cool off and run while you're doing maintenance. See how this welds. It was interesting. The angle iron is actually burning cooler. Interesting. That one's going to be a bit different because she's welded up. Let me flip it. Or actually, that's just pot welded right there. I mean, she's solid right now. I did a angle brace right here. And then this one I had to do some funky stuff. Let's... I mean, that one's just tacked right there. That's probably fine. That came from, you saw that from the kit there. But... let's just make this professional grade here. Maybe I should cut that. And that. That's good enough. Let's make all my welds look super nice. Oh yeah. Look at that, professional grade. And you notice that I'm not getting you close-ups of my welds here. And for a reason. I mean, as far as professional gatekeeping, I think welders are the absolute worst. Nice. Whoops. Didn't want to spray the valve cover. Nice. So now, and we could probably have some sort of thing over the top to actually hold it in place. But this is just to keep her out of the motor. A little bit of movement there. Nice. Yes. I like how this is turning out. Seems like every day I work on this thing, the exhaust gets further away from me. There's the current exit. That's where the factory muffler was. That's where the factory muffler is. Let me see here so I can get that to fit nice. Oh. No way, hold on. Oh Jeez, look at that. Look at that. Okay. Okay, that might be perfect. Perfect, I got this guy. Obviously I don't want to be too close to that tire. Or no, I could just weld a pipe to that. So I do that and that. Let's see, pop that in. We'll tie that out like that, and then we'll cut it right there. Ugh, looks atrocious. I think I just tacked it on once. All right. This is doable. I like the way this is going, and that's actually going to be attached to an actual mount. Okay, let's do it. First, we're going to tack her in here. Good day working this thing. The exhaust gets further away from me. A full exhaust system. Wow. I don't want it to go past the bumper. Nice. Now, bumper. To be street legal, we need a bumper. I mean, I have no intention of registering it, and I'm concerned about street legality. Huh. Let's see what we can do about this. Random piece of steel, or oh, no way. Hold on. We got that hole lined up, and that hole's unbelievable. She fits. Nice. We gotta paint that. Success. Look at that. Sweet. About a little bit to dry. We'll work on something else in that time. It smells wonderful. We still got a slight miss, but much better. And the exhaust coming out all the way back here sounds so good. Oh, look at this thing. This bumper. What is this off of? This bumper is for a 240Z, is that? I'm getting rained on. I don't always come out and do clips, but when I do, I make sure that it is one, too late, cold, rainy, uncomfortableness. But look at this thing. This is what all the kids are doing. I am told that this was a early 80s upgrade fancy clip for a 240. And since it was for a 240, look at this. We got our two holes right there. And look, they mount up perfectly. Now, decisions need to be made because I think, looking at this, it can be put right over that. This will fit just fine. I kind of like having some structural integrity right here. That would help with, because this thing is pretty flimsy, as you can see. That's fine, it can be flimsy. So I'm not sure if I should be taking that off and just putting it directly there. I think I may want to actually have that on like that, right over the piece. I'm definitely going to have to cut off these brackets here. We got the right screws. Right screws are from the usual suspects. It's a stainless steel with a flat washer appliance ring. Or not a flat washer, it's like a beveled washer. I'll show you that in a second here. Actually, I think I'm probably done for the night because of all this rain. Look at that. Just started to. What a wonderful time. So, yeah, this thing is pretty flimsy, so it may have to go over that and maybe screw in on the bottom as well. There's nothing there. This is a fiberglass something. And then I need to do something about that big gap, because even with that bumper on there, it's gonna fit like that, and then we're gonna have all that space still right there. So I have seen other bumpers or other grills that just duplicate this and it goes all the way down right there. That's bent. Okay. So, one thing at a time though. That wouldn't be bad. I also kind of want to reinforce this. As you can see, this didn't happen in my possession here, but looking there, you can see there's a crack right there. And there's something that happened right there that happened in owners long past. Said, what is this even off of? Or I don't know who made this, but apparently this was a performance style piece from the 80s sometimes, back when these cars were hot. Who am I kidding? These cars are still hot. So may leave that on, and I wanted to work up a metal bracket. I'll have to bend some metal all the way across, and I'm thinking that should be glued on rather than screwed on. Probably want to avoid putting any more holes in the thing. And if we have a metal bracket there, or a metal angle iron, that's what we're thinking. Angle iron all the way across, put some rigidity into there, and then that piece we can weld on a little dog leg or something and put it on the real mount here for some real rigidity. Very nice. I like where this is going. So we've sort of got a plan, and here's what I'm feeling. You saw that footage earlier where I cut the notches in there. Those notches can stay. Originally I was thinking, yeah. Whoops. I would weld a triangle in there or something, but yeah, this is just fine. It adds the rigidity I need. And then, right in the middle there, and this piece I was gonna put right there, because I don't wanna be welding on this while it's on there. I think that would be no bueno. Or that. Plenty rigid there. We'll just weld that right on. It's gotten quite rainy out there. But, back to this. We got some expendables here from the depot. The usual scumbags. You gotta get good wire. Your disposables, dispendables, whatever you want to call them, should be good stuff. You can kind of get away with cheaping out in the machine like I did. This titanium 125, I think was 100, 200? I forget. But much better than the junk I had before. Other things you should not skimp on. Safety equipment. I just got this guy in the mail earlier this week, and what a treat. Love everything about it. The controls. Now, this is actually not too bad. This I think was $130 as I recall. See, it's still pretty new. Before this guy, I was using the $50 El Cheapo unit and used it quite a bit, but it might have just been in my head or whatever. It probably was, but I didn't feel like this is giving me adequate protection. And it's also not that fast. I don't know, another guy up on this platform had a video a while back about it's not the speed that matters, because these all block 100% of UV light, 100%. But this is faster than that, and also false triggers a lot less. And I suppose there is a, those are the batteries. Yeah, there's a sensitivity thing, a button there you can adjust, and a delay. So, adjustable. So far, I'm loving it. The right tool for personal protection. Now to spool up my new wire, and we'll get this thing running. Since apparently it's raining a bunch, putting this in the garage. And I think it, whoa, that comes out quick. I think you guys can get the point of what I'm doing here without watching me apply glue to a thing. That's some high quality glue. That's sturdy. No more breaks. Let's see how high quality. It's dark, it's in the middle of the night, but look at that. Clears the tires, actually clears the tires better than these busted up ones. Very busted. And look at that Bondo. So, but looking at all this, I took the grinder to it. Not really a grinder, a sander buffer. This car is like, Bondo isn't lightweight. I don't know why they use this much Bondo on it. But look at that. I tried to take it to that, and then I was thinking this might better come off with just a putty knife screwdriver. It looks like it was primered there. Primered. And then this is thick. Like especially here where that's all dented in. I mean, this whole fender's got to come off. And is that just a rust hole they were cleaning up? Ouch. Or is there a dent? But if you look at the rest of it, it's pretty much the same everywhere. I mean, that's Bondo. Yeah, Bondo there. And that's Bondo. I'm not sure if that's rust or if that was a dent that got crinkled in. Well, that just might be thick paint. And then this, I think they might have put on some primer to cover up the rust. Okay, no Bondo here. Oh, they missed a spot that they could have Bondoed. That's just rust. That whole thing is Bondo. It looks like it fell off, and of course we're missing the bottom there. Completely. Oh, this whole thing is just so rough. Like, look at how thick that is. And geez, the paint to keep it from rusting is just atrocious as well. Will this ever be? I mean, that I can't fix. I'd need a whole panel. And of course, every panel is going to rust in that same spot. So, parts are going to be few and far in between. Whole thing Bondo. Jeez. Not there. Anywho, they even Bondoed this is what I was getting at. These were dented in pretty good. And look, it got there, and was it? They didn't even weld it. They just Bondoed right over that to smooth it over. This thing had a lot of body work at one point. Anywho, I am getting distracted from my goal because this thing is on. And yeah, I didn't do the putting on of it because, I mean, how interesting is that really? It bolts right up. You saw me do the glue thing. It's not even not fully on, it's just, they're just backed on slightly a little bit to see the shape. But then we got this big open area here, and the thing that I want to do the handle on right there, which is holding, that looks really good right there, that looks terrible. So that either needs to get cut and braced down there, and then I need to figure out something for this gap here, be aesthetically pleasing. But here's what I was thinking. This is bent. I'm going to pull this off and hopefully bend that back, get some good paint on it, make it look nice. But those screws got stripped out. They're just Phillips screw. So I'll probably drill those out. But if you look here, we've got the mounts for the factory. I believe that's where the factory bumper mounted. I'm not entirely sure, but it looks like a good spot for a bumper. And geez, no crumple or anything. Any impact on that bumper. I mean, this probably had a 5-mile-an-hour bumper, so it had the bumpers with the struts in them. In fact, I can show you what that looks like right here. The 5-mile-an-hour bumper, there's a strut springy thing in there. So this bumper can get hit up to 5. Oh yeah, sorry, this thing's not in any gear or anything. You'd really have to hit it to make it move, but you get the point. Whew. This thing might be running. Or might have. Project for a different day. But there's your 5-mile-an-hour bumper, and everybody hates those. They look terrible. Mercedes did as good as they could with this right here, but beyond a 5-mile-an-hour crash, you're right into these structural members right here, and that's going to crinkle and give away and probably total your car, because that can't be repaired, or can't. And did we get into a 5-mile-an-hour crash? Look at that, that's bent in right there. Oh no, maybe that's factory. That can't be factory. Look at how that's bent in. Interesting. Anyway, this thing has been crashed probably more than once. And crashed hard probably more than once, with given this amount of every Bondo and every single piece. So for this, I was thinking either we need a piece that goes all the way up here, but there's no mount up there. There's just the hood here. This whole hood flips up. So that would be no bueno. There'd be no point in that, and just adding weight for no additional rigidity or anything else here. As you can see, if it just held in, this is fiberglass from the 80s and is quite brittle. That glue is holding perfectly though. Anyway, that's all hidden. And even if I rigged up some things to bolt that right into there, then I'm still, it's not looking good. That still doesn't look good. If I cut that and I still got this little tooth, what do I call it? Like, it looks like Mater on the Cars thing. But here's what I'm thinking. Help me visualize this. I just have this random piece of steel that I cut here. We'll just balance it right there. It's not cut to any measurement right now. It's just cut. Here, stay level. There you go. That is what I'm thinking. That member right across the top one. Of course, that'll be the same black as this guy is, with some good Rust-Oleum and mean looking. And then I'll rig something up so it actually mounts to those factory holes. That's going to hold the extra rigidity, holding this up right there. And I think it's going to break up the big open gap here. There's going to be this gap here, obviously, for, I don't know, it's got to be functional airflow. This can be reconditioned. This doesn't look, I mean, this looks pretty good, actually. There's some bends there that can probably be straightened out. Pull it off, get some good paint on her. And it looks like it's missing a screw anyway, whatever. Yeah, rig up a mount, cut this to length, have a real mount holding it in right there. I think this is the future. And then this piece can be, I'll drill that out and get that straightened out. Have it across the front. It's going to break up the look here, and this is going to look fabulous, I think. Get this busted piece off, and this is my choice of tool for this. And success. That's going to take some work to make presentable. So now let's look at this guy. Ooh, I like it. I like it a lot. It's gonna look good, it's gonna feel good, it's gonna track good. I need this piece to be removable. Obviously the bumper's not gonna stay on. And while a complete mount could be made with using these existing bolts like I was thinking, that is a lot of work and stuff. We'll just tack her on front in the 2 spots right there. I'm gonna get too special on it. In fact, if I do that, I don't even think it needs to be cut. Ooh, I like how that's looking. Yeah, she don't even need to be cut. And then here, let's just drill a hole into that. We'll have a screw go all the way through for that. I like that idea. So got these drilled. It's gonna fit nicely right into there. Be removable. Let's nice pull your battery out when making any adjustments. You could just do without this guard, but yeah, I just wanted to get the paint off to weld. All right, going for a lower setting. That's B and 2. That's the wire speed of 2. I don't know what the 2 means. I don't know what the B means as far as actual figures. But need to get some cool stickers on this or something. And for reference, of course, the battery is currently disconnected. Proper safety equipment, which is why I'm wearing shorts. I'm gonna burn that right up. I need a bit more current. We'll run her up to C.5 and 2.5. I do have a favorite look for this sort of stuff. The Rust-Oleum hammered is always the solution. I like how this is looking. A bolt right through there, that's gonna pull that right up and suck it right in. It's gonna be perfect. I like that. Yeah, a little bit of overspray is not gonna hurt it. Nice. This is coming together. And having that bottom that looks like this is gonna break up the look, and it's gonna look real good, I think. All right, I'm still in the rain. This is the ending clip, and this part, I mean, how I acquired this thing, I knew the guy, or I still know the guy. He goes by Nismo something. Hey, I know you watch these videos because I've linked you to him, Mr. Nismo. Comment down below so everybody knows where this came from. Like I indicated before, he had a whole bunch of different projects and absolutely loved this thing. He saved this thing from a scrapyard and got a whole bunch of really cool parts. So all these add-on parts like the wheel spacers, the front bumper, the fender mirrors, the fender skirt thingies, and like the extra parts that I got, because this thing came with like no gauges, no electronics pretty much, as you saw before, and yet I had all that in boxes set aside. It had new plugs and wires. It had it all because someone loved this thing. And when I acquired it, I mean, I got it for a steal. I mentioned $500. He got it for free, but he's definitely in the red with all the parts that he included with this thing. And he even towed it, what was it, 230 miles right across Montana to bring it here. Delivered. $500 delivered. So maybe this is info on how you acquire one of these things, because if I didn't know him, I probably wouldn't have been able to acquire it from him. And also, if he didn't know that would not be doing something with it, granted it kind of sat for a year, but if he didn't know that something would happen with it, when people sell a vehicle like this, they of course need money. Example, this van here, and it would be the same situation if I ever sell this van, which I might because it's dangerous, super reliable, dangerous. Because, I mean, you are the crash crumple zone. Anyway, but if I were to sell this to somebody, it wouldn't be to a dealership, it wouldn't be to an auction, it would be to somebody who I knew would put the same care and energy into it that I did. Somebody that would maintain it, do all the things on this. I mean, this of course got every single fluid. This of course gets a special treatment. It was the same thing with this car. All these extra tidbits. I wouldn't have had this car if the last owner didn't know that something would happen to it. And this, as you saw, still is pretty far gone. And so when you get into a car like this, I've bought in cars for $100 that people had refused to sell to anybody else because people would come up, for example, the 1980, I think it's an 81. Yeah, it was an 81. I traded it for a Buick Roadmaster. Mistake. Damn it, GM. Traded it for a Buick Roadmaster. Clip here about that video, or link to that video. Hadn't run in like 20 years. I think it was like 98 or 99 was on the plate, and it had sat for a long time. But that guy had like so many offers on it because it was a super cool truck, but was dingy, dirty, and like nobody was going to buy that truck, or nobody had yet presented themselves to buy that truck just for buying it, for putting it back on the road, for doing something cool with it. He loved this truck. I mean, obviously, this is a 81, and he drove it up to like 1998 or 1999, so that's almost 20 years of driving that truck. And it just sat because it things get irrelevant, life gets in the way. I understand. He's getting to it someday. It took him 20 years to sell. He sold it to me for $100. And I was thrilled with that price. And of course I put it back on the road. Because when I approached him, I asked him the history. I asked it why it was important. I asked him all the things on it, how he came by, if he was ever going to do anything with it. And he understood that's qualifying yourself as a buyer. It's, you know the problems with the truck, you know the work that's going to go into the truck. When I sell a vehicle, the last thing I want somebody to come back at, if somebody buys this, I don't want to call a week later saying it overheated and didn't turn on for a while. Which, by the way, happens on this. If you get her too hot and then shut her off right away, the fuel in the fuel rail boils. Things like that. You need somebody that knows those details, but is going to love it for all the quirks that it has. 81 Mazda or 78 Datsun, only a few years apart. Wow, the technology in this is leaps ahead of that Mazda. Anyway, getting distracted. You qualify yourself as a buyer, and through a friendship, Mr. Nismo, whatever his handle is, I know his name, but I can't remember his handle off the top of my head, knew that selling this to me would be a good investment. Because the last thing he wanted is somebody that wasn't going to respect it, somebody that wasn't going to just beat the crap out of it on a track, because that's what's going to happen. Somebody was going to appreciate it for what it is, and understand the coolness of this thing. So you qualify yourself as a buyer. So if you're approaching somebody, I mean, unless they're advertising it for parts, you're not telling them you're getting it for parts. Which this one I am obviously didn't get for parts because it's the only Z car I own, and here it is. So you qualify yourself as a buyer, somebody that knows something, somebody that's not going to come back a week later and say there's a problem with it, and somebody who will appreciate it. Because for some reason, I can only speak for myself, but we get very emotionally attached to these things. So there's a time and emotional investment, like the work Tundra over there. I'm pretty attached to it. I spend a lot of time in there. It's just a work truck, and it's completely stock and will be stock until the day I sell it or get it sold for a new work truck. So it's completely inconsequential and not cool to drive it every day, but pretty attached to it. And if people getting attached to material things, cars have a soul. And if you're looking to acquire one, you got to respect that. So I got really off into tangents on this because I'm just impressed with all the stuff this comes with. So this is the end of episode 7. And in this episode, we put 2 bumpers on. We put a thingy on there. We worked on the exhaust. We might have worked on a tire. We put fender mirrors on. May or may not work on the tire. I don't know. Some drivability stuff might have been into this episode. If it didn't, I'll just cut this little bit out. But thank you for watching. Stay tuned for episode 8. And what is episode 8? I now need to think of that off the top of my head. If I didn't get to some drivability things, I'll be doing that now. So, what else should episode 8 be? Paint. Starting with right here. This is obviously completely not bolted down. Let's put that on temporarily. I'm gonna do something cool with the engine, do some paint stuff. I don't know how to paint. We're gonna learn this together. Well, thanks for watching. You know what to do.